What's going on, everybody? So Resident Evil, Welcome to Racoon City was directed by Johannes Roberts, the guy that brought us 47 Meters Down, The Strangers Pray at Night, and many others, so he's no stranger to the horror genre. And it tells the story of a group of people who tries to survive the night after a deadly virus hits as they explore the mysteries of the Spencer Mansion and the ill-fated Racoon City. Alright, first of all, let me just say, I'm not a game player. I have not played a game since PS3s was all the rage. So I hung up my controllers ever since then. So when I say that I'm not a game player, I'm really not. The only Resident Evil game that I've actually played was the original on PlayStation 1. That just goes to show you how old I am. That's the only one I played, and I have not played any since then. There are plenty of games out there, I know. One just came out here recently called Village, which I've seen around, but again, I've never played past the original. So going into this, and after reading a lot of the other reviews and how much this actually connects more to the material, to the source material, I was going in naked. I was pretty much going in blind. But I have heard that this was the most loyal to the game fans than what the Paul W.S. Anderson films was. Going into this, again, I had no idea what I was going into. Like I said, all I remember playing is the original. But I do remember the Spencer Mansion. And as soon as that popped up, and here we go into the positives, I did like that. That's the one element to any of the games, since I've never played past the original, that I remember. A little funny story before I move on. You might get a kick out of this. I was at a friend's house way back in the day, like I was in my early teens. I was at a friend's house, and we were playing the original Resident Evil on PlayStation 1. I didn't realize that the speakers to the TV was up. They decided to play a little bit of a prank on me. They would do that a lot. They used to do that a lot. Well, the TV volume was all the way up, and as I was going down the hall, just looking around to see if any zombies, and then whoosh, zombie dogs started attacking me. Of course, I died. Caught me off guard, jumped out of my skin, cussed everybody out, and that's the end of that. So I'll always remember that as being one of my cherished and possibly silly moments playing any of the Resident Evil games. Again, about the Spencer Mansion, as soon as that popped up, that's the only thing I could relate to as in terms of like playing any of the games. I do remember that mansion, and it was really nice. The setting was very cool. It was in that confined, like it was in a mansion, but you felt kind of confined, which really did a lot for me. And I liked how this movie was overnight. It felt like an actual zombie movie, and because I've never really played any of the other games, I was just watching this as a horror movie. Like any other horror zombie movie, any other horror movie. And that's how I was viewing this, which is also a good thing, especially in my case. Just because you don't play the source material, if something like this comes out and is related to the game, just watch it as something else. It doesn't always have to be a negative thing. And that's how I was choosing to watch this. It was just a regular horror film, a horror zombie genre type film, which I'm also a fan of, so it was a win-win for me. But the overnight made it so much more efficient, especially for zombies. Because I remember there was a scene in there, which I won't give too much away, but there was one scene, it won't spoil anything, there was one scene where they were in the Spencer Mansion, and this guy's gun's light went out. And these creatures just kept on coming at him, and he kept on shooting. And the screen was like flashing and doing all kinds of spasmoids. These creatures, you could see, like, each time he would fire, it's like boom, 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 boom. And it's like, dang, that's something I haven't really seen in a while. And it made it much more tense. There's a few throwbacks to the Romero films, mostly because of the zombie, the zombie thing itself. But it was mostly how the zombies transformed. You have something terribly wrong with this city, and you notice that some of the people would bleed from their eyes. The whites of their eyes would be red, and they stand there looking like this. And like some of them would look like it's got that angry vibe to them. And then others would have that like slow zombie But it was in like a slow transition. It wasn't like the Paul W.S. Anderson films where if somebody gets bit, they just go batshit crazy on you right away. It wasn't like that. It was more realistic. If zombies were to exist, that's how I would think that they would actually transform. I mean, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, leave your comment down below and give me your thoughts on that, but that's how I would think. It just made it realistic for me. And it was really nicely done. It just kept the tension up as you were trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with these people. You know something's wrong, and you know they're going to be a zombie, but it takes their time and it just builds up more tension. That's what I like. The jump scares worked for me. There's moments in there where you see a cop like in a parking lot, and then all of a sudden he just gets attacked from behind. It wasn't one of those shoulder, like tapping on the shoulders, like most people would claim that that's not really a good jump scare. It took me back to that story that I mentioned. When the volume was up loud and the zombie dogs attacked me in that game. That's kind of what it took me back at. And unlike the Paul W.S. Anderson films, this one actually had more of a horror element. Yeah, there was an action scene here and there. Paul W.S. Anderson just crammed it with action, which I don't have a problem with. But because Resident Evil Welcome to Racoon City was staying more true to the game fans, they had to pile more of the horror element, which I also liked. As I said, I was just going into this and watching a horror film because I've never played any of the games past the original. That's how I was viewing this. And I like that. There was more of the horror elements. So again, win-win. And it really made the Cornish candy work. You know, there's plenty of blood and gore. It wasn't like over the top like Hellraiser, but you got some pretty nice treats in there. And you have some characters, which I'll get to the rest of them later. You have some great characters. You have Claire Redfield and Chris Redfield. They were pretty cool. Especially Claire Redfield. You know, you got that kick-assery from her. And Jill Valentine, who, the actress in this, I've seen other stuff. So is the actress that played Claire Redfield. I'm pretty much in love with them, so that should tell you a lot, or all you need to know. Even though I've never played any of the games, it just seemed like they respected the characters more. The Paul W.S. Anderson films, they just cherry-picked some of the characters in there, and whenever they did, even for somebody like me that has never really played any of the games, I still felt deep down in my gut that it was just kind of disrespectful. It's like they didn't really do that much with the characters in the Paul Anderson films. And this, again, even though I never played any of the games, I felt like that they respected them more. Especially with Jill Valentine or Claire Redfield and all the characters. Well, some of the characters, again. But, you know, I just felt like that there was more respect. I just felt more respect in this one. Just as a movie viewer alone. Even Donal Logue, who plays the police chief in this, he's pretty cool. I remember seeing him in Gotham. First time I seen him was in that Max Payne, which is another game rendition that Hollywood kind of failed on. But I like Donal Logue as an actor. He's pretty cool. And I like the way he played his character. He told you what was on his mind. And he kind of made me chuckle a little bit. That being said, not everything in this movie was hunky-dory. And even other YouTubers that has actually played all of the games would tell you the same thing. So let's dive into the next. The story felt a little crammed. And because I haven't played any of the games past the original, I can let it slide. Because, again, I don't want to comment on anything that they may have missed or whatever. But there were certain scenes where you would see him in the Spencer Mansion. Then you would translate to the police department. And I do remember hearing somebody saying that they actually used story elements from the first two. And because of that, even as a movie viewer who's never played any of the games before, past the original, it just felt a little overstuffed. And I could kind of tell that there was some things that was actually cut out. The time that this movie, it clocks in at around an hour and 45, an hour and 46 minutes. Maybe if it was a little longer, it probably would have made more sense. But again, I'm not faulting it because, again, how can I if I haven't played any of the rest of the games? I'm not going to fault the movie for that, especially in my opinion because of that. And that's why I could easily put this in the mix. And now let's dive into the negatives. As I said before, most of the characters they gave respect to, but some of them not so much. They really dropped the ball. This is going off based off the Paul W.S. Anderson films for me. But Albert Risker, I didn't really like the way they handled his character. He seemed more douchey, but he wasn't really... They didn't really give him that much to do, script-wise. They just made him seem like a side character. And even worse, Leon, which I heard from many other people that Leon is one of the most important characters in the game. But even as a movie viewer, that character I couldn't get into at all, even as a horror fan. He was just lazy, he was an idiot, and I just didn't really feel like there was a need to even have him in there. They really downgraded his character. I'll just put it that way. Resident Evil, Welcome to Racoon City was a great flick. It was a great horror flick. For those of you who haven't played the games like me, past the original anyway, and for those of you who actually just wants to watch a good horror movie, it's good. It's good for what that is. So, Resident Evil, Welcome to Racoon City. What was your thoughts on it? Did you like it? Did you like this one better than the Paul W.S. Anderson films? Did you think that it connected more to the games? Or did you just like it as a horror film? Leave me your comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I apologize for being absent for probably over 2 weeks now, just with the holidays and all, but I promise I'll get my act together. I'm hoping to do a Matrix film review series just in time for the new one. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you later. Like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.